A very warm welcome and a very happy Christmas to all of you from Love Vocals Nation. My name's Antonia, and I'm here with my co-host, Linnea Schossow, and we're wishing you a very happy Christmas.
Finally, I can hear some.
Oh God, I can hear you. It's amazing. Hello.
Right. That was annoying. How are you?
I'm fine. Should I wear the hat? Should I not wear the hat?
Yes. I thought we were gonna be like.
I thought I'll put a bit of tinsel on. I thought.
Yeah.
Why
I love
not?
that.
I thought a bit of tinsel. I'm not a hat person at all. I look absolutely shit in hats. I'm just see. I'm not even any good with hats. Hold on a second.
I love it. But tinsel is good too. You know, you can have the tinsel around your head or whatever.
Have the tinsel around my head. I don't think so. Hold on. Hello, Santa.
Oh yes.
How's
Fabulous.
that? Is that fabulous?
Santa lady.
I love it. Fabulous lady. Love it. So we have been away for a very long time, haven't we, Linnea?
Yes, we have indeed.
So look, I've got a little hello little tinkle bell on the back. just for extra, you know, as usual.
Yes.
Okay. So
I bought this hat specifically for the.
Did you? I love it. It's so cool. You look so good.
Like I need to look festive, you know.
I did. I thought I was going to put a festive background on, and then I put it on, and it looked fantastic. And then it just
maybe I should do that too.
Yeah. Well, here's mine, but I looked a bit anemic. But I thought I'll give it a go. So here. You ready?
I
for
like
this?
the one that you had the other.
That's the one I had. I thought, you know, I'll put it back on. Maybe you should put it on as well, right?
Ah, this one.
See this one?
Okay. Yes, let's do this one. All right. 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3. Welcome to our very special holiday episode of Love Vocals Nations, your favorite behind the scene podcast. Woo!
Ho ho ho! Away we
go!
Today we will dive into some of the best topics and moments from this year's interviews and some of the biggest artists in the music industry.
But before we dive into some of the tasty clips, let's go down the history lane of how Love Vocals Nation actually came together. So it started 12 years ago. Antonia, tell the story of the VSA. How did it get started?
Yeah, so the VSA got started, as Linnea said, 12 years ago. And we had a moment of inspiration when we decided that there was not any kind of community out there for vocalists and songwriters.
Yeah.
So there was obviously Facebook, and we decided to create a private group there. And we were astonished that within 4 days, we had 64 professional vocalists and songwriters had joined up with our group. And everybody was talking, so excited to be connected rather than out there on their own. And then within a year, we had almost at one point 450 members.
Professional members. It's a high.
It was VIP bevy. That's what it was.
Everyone in the music industry that you could ever imagine.
Right.
Yes,
Jumped in there, got talking, and it was quite amazing what came up, because suddenly everybody was connected. And we have been going ever since. And our objective was always to change standards positively for vocalists and songwriters within the music industry. And that is our mission. And that is what we continue to do today. So what we've done over the last 12 years, we have literally talked to pretty much all of them. We've gathered loads of information, loads of things that they want to change within the industry. And we have kind of put it all together and created a brand new music industry platform. So we created what we call a multiverse for the music industry and for creators within the industry. You can do anything that you ever wanted to do within the industry in that platform, in a safe environment, with standards, and with people who are there to support you on your journey.
Yes, this platform is actually created by creators.
Created by creators.
That we really, really care about what's going on. Yeah. And we are making sure that you are getting educated and have fun when you are collaborating together.
Yeah, and make sure that before you walk into any contracts or jump into any collaborations, you are tooled up with the right gear to make sure that it's the best experience you could ever possibly imagine.
That's right. I am so excited for 2024.
I am so excited.
I can't wait for you guys to see it. And we're launching this in early 2024. Right. So there you have it, folks. 2024. Why can't I say that? Fuck.
2024. Say it with me. 2024.
We're going to keep this. I don't give a
shit. It's fine. Yeah. It's fine. Right. Next, let's move.
So, me and Antonia, we started this podcast for us to have a place where people could share their amazing musical story, but also a place where truth was shared and a place where you could get educated about what and what not to do if you're involved in the music industry.
I think you're right there, Linnea, and I think that what we now are trying to do is kind of out a lot of the myths, a lot of the stuff that gets hidden, and that people feel uncomfortable sharing. But there's a lot of really, and no one likes to talk about bad things. No one likes to talk about negative stuff, but there's a lot of negative stuff going on out there. And our objective is to let you know the truth. And True Talk, which is what our kind of talk aspect to Love Vocals Nation is going to be, is a lot of vocalists, producers, DJs, and all aspects of the music industry coming together and sharing their experiences of what's been happening along the way. But I think one of the most important topics that seems to be getting talked about at the moment is why we being vocalists and songwriters are at the bottom of the food chain, and why, considering that we are without creators, without producers, without vocalists, without songwriters, without composers, there is no music industry. And yet we are treated so poorly. Unless we're at the top, unless we're like really like number one, we're not treated well. And what's happening is a lot of people are just not making money these days, even the people at the top. So we want to know where that money's going.
Yeah. This place is for the music lovers, that love to hear a little bit more about your favorite artists. And this is for the singers, the songwriters, the producers, we are opening it up here and talk about what really matters. And we are so glad that you're here with us because we are here to not only talk about what's really important, but also have a little bit of fun.
Yeah. And really, Love Vocals Nation is about bringing more awareness to what we do, what happens for us, and our experiences within the music industry.
That's right. It's so easy to, be alone there. Like the music industry world is very big and lonely sometimes, and you think that you're going through something on your own, but actually there's a group of people that are going through the same thing, and that's why we came together. We wanted to stand up and be there for each other, united.
Yeah, and that is why we have been away for the last few months, but we thought, we got very sick over the last 5 weeks, both of us, which I thought was was a bit odd, Linnea, considering I'm in Detroit, you're in Ireland, we're nowhere near each other, and we're suffering the same stuff. I don't know what that's all about.
I sent a dove to you, with my germs.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Thought germs. Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple of things been happening. We've been working really hard in background. Yeah. We've been sick, but we're back. My voice is back. So yay, happy days.
Yay. And by the way, I've got to jump in and say, all you producers out there who have been dying for Linnea's vocals, please be patient. She has been stressing so much about you. And
seriously,
she so has. And she's going to get round to it, I promise. But you know what? See these vocals you're sitting waiting for now? When this platform comes out, you'll be waiting no longer.
That's right. Yeah, no, there's nothing worse when your instrument is your voice and you have so much work to do. But you can't force it. If you force it, it's going to sound like, well, crap.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, you just have to deal with it. And yeah, it is what it is. But hey, I'm back. So
She's back.
Ready to rumble again.
She's back. Yay.
Yes. Right. So, yeah. It's been really exciting what we've been doing in the background, but we're going to continue the Love Vocals Nation podcast, and it's going to be monthly, so stay with us. We're going to go and talk to some of the biggest heroes in the music industry. But talking about heroes in the music industry, we've been talking with some amazing, incredible singers, songwriters, and producers over the year. So I think it's time we dive into some of the best highlights of the years. We have had guests on such as Jess, Amanda Wilson, Susie Ledge, Mark Sixma, Marcella Detroit, Sean Tyas, Alyssa,
and Kieran McCauley.
That's right. There we go.
So, without further ado, let's get going. One hot topic this year has been contracts, and it's an important topic to touch on because there are so many of us out there that's been in the music industry for years and don't understand what's actually in a contract. So we're going to take a look and pay attention and make sure that your rights are protected. And we're going to talk a lot more about that and various other topics, safety and protection in the industry as the year progresses.
That's right. So why has this topic been so important on this podcast? Maybe you ask yourself. Well, it's important to educate yourself. It really is, because, I've been in the industry for 15 years, and sometimes I get contracts and I don't understand them. I still don't. Really, it's embarrassing, but it's true. So it's an important topic because, well, you never know if one of your songs becomes a mega hit and gets millions or even billions of streams and buys. And nothing breaks your heart more than knowing that you signed away your rights or your well-earned royalties and you end up with nothing, right? So this is why we talk about it. And let's hear some of the artists that has something to say about contracts, because listen up, it's really important advice and really good learnings. So let's check it out. This is the first clip.
It sort of happened early on.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of things, because I had bands and I did a lot of, before I was even in dance music, I had my own band and I did a lot of other songs and things with other people, not in dance music. But, and I'd always had my name on things, just, it was a given, you know?
Yeah.
So when I first did my first things, and it was on a big label and I had a contract, I had in the contract, my name was going to be on the record, and it was actually came out on CD.
Right.
And so I thought I had, you know, all my bases covered. And then the CD comes out and my name is nowhere in sight.
Ooh,
It's the single. Yeah.
Oh,
And
God.
ouch.
yeah, so it was, that was really eye-opening, but I didn't let them get away with it.
Yes,
That's right.
excellent.
And
You go, girl.
I know. And I made them, I went back and I fought it and I made them sticker all of the CDs with my name.
Brilliant.
Ah,
That's brilliant.
nice.
And it wasn't, you know, easy. And it cost me a lot of money, you know, at the time. And, but I was, you know, I remember, I think, you know, like, it's like traumatic almost. Like it's, it was traumatic because I just assumed that, that it would be on.
So, you know, just kind of like feeding off of what we've just heard there, I think one of the things that really pops up for me is when she says it was really traumatic. And I think that's what we hear from a lot of people, because if you think about it, Linnea, I mean, you've said this yourself, you know, when we write a song, we're actually like, it's our baby. It's like our child. It's so important. And to suddenly, you know, give birth to that baby. Sorry, I know that sounds a bit weird, but to give birth to that baby, and then suddenly for the baby to be taken away from you.
Yeah.
And I say it as dramatically as that purely because that's the impact.
Yep.
To suddenly get erased from the equation is like, it's traumatic.
So traumatic.
Yeah, and it's traumatic. So, you know, I really felt for her there. What did you think?
Yeah, those stories kind of hurts a lot. The thing is that a lot of people learn only when they get burned. That's the thing. And they only take action to protect themselves after you have been burned.
Right.
And that is something that we are going to try to change with this new platform. And yeah, there's more. So let's look at on another clip here.
Okay.
We have more people talking about contracts. So let's
check it out.
Yeah.
Do you use collaboration contracts?
I haven't, no.
You don't? Okay.
No.
So how do you keep yourself contractually safe?
I don't know. It's probably very childish for me. It's I don't like paperwork for a start, you know, and I leave my tax returns until like the last week of Christmas, and it does my head in. I'm stressed out, and anytime things come in, emails, I'm like, oh, I'll get to it, and I'm just very lackadaisy with these sort of things. I don't collect my I don't do all the singer-songwriter licensing and stuff, and even working with my last vocalist, Hannah.
Right.
She's been at me, Kieran, you need to be signing off all the tracks that you play at your festivals. You know, you should be claiming these things. I'm like, oh, I will. And I just I just don't like paperwork. I don't know whether it's because I'm dyslexic. I just want to make music. It's a very childish way to look at things, and these are things I should be doing. So
okay.
So I should be doing the contracts, I know, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I mean, this isn't a right or wrong. It's just, again, one of the things we're trying to kind of alert people to is this way to keep themselves safe, because there's been so many. This is because we at the BSA, you know, we're constantly hearing from vocalists and some producers, you know, who have had really bad experiences. So it's about kind of informing them and saying, hey, look, we actually have contracts set out for people. If they want them, they can come and get them for free. But it starts to it keeps people together. It keeps the collaborative process healthy. And you know, we absolutely love Kieran. We love Kieran.
We do.
But this is something that we hear quite often, and it's not out of any malice or stupidity or any of that stuff. It's purely because A, people are really busy, B, or they don't like paperwork, or C, they don't understand paperwork, or they just don't actually have the understanding of industry business, industry acumen, or basically the industry doesn't actually make it a standard. So at the moment, having a collaboration contract is something that's enormously important, but people don't even talk about it or think that it's an important thing. So we want to change that. We want it to be mandatory, and we want it to be mandatory for a multitude of reasons.
Yeah. So the thing is that, as you mentioned, there isn't really a good place to educate yourself. There isn't a school of how to read a contract in the music industry. And I think, when you are a passionate musician, could be a songwriter, a singer, a producer, you just want to do music, right? So you're just excited for that part. So when that contract part comes up, that's like annoying little thing in the background that you have to pay attention, and you really don't have time, as you say, to look at it. And so you think it's not really that important until you have a really big hit, and suddenly you need to protect yourself.
Yeah.
And you never know if you have a hit, you can never tell. But we want to make sure that there is a place for you to get educated. Yeah.
Well,
and we're launching that place.
Yeah. Well, no, we are. I think getting educated is one of the most important things within the industry, because I think if everybody was a little more educated, then there would be less people getting burned, less people have been traumatized, less people falling out, after they've made an amazing track together. And I genuinely believe that music industry, certainly collaboration contracts, should be mandatory.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's so many hits out there that became really, really big, have billions and millions of listeners, and they didn't have a contract in place when they started to collaborate. And now there's, bad beef between people for unnecessary things,
Well, it is. It's unnecessary, and
in
actual fact, imagine you've done a track with somebody and it does become a #1 hit, but you don't speak to each other for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, and that's how sad. How sad is that?
It's really sad. It's been happening to me myself, and I know a couple of really high-end singer-songwriters out there, and even producers. That has been going through that. So, the topic of contract is something that we will touch on. We will have some educational videos and things coming up for anyone to understand what and what not to do.
Right.
So stories like these that we just see now doesn't come up in the future. So that everybody is just protected and feel happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a creative industry. It should all be about fun and good vibes, and create an amazing music. But we want sustainability. We want to really promote sustainability, keeping us, Linnea's just said, keeping people safe.
Absolutely. By the way, I say absolutely way too many times, so we should do a drinking game.
You say absolutely, and I go brilliant so many times.
I'm so tired of my own voice sometimes.
I'm gonna actually, I swear to God, right? You need to get a T-shirt with absolutely, and I'll get one with brilliant on.
Oh my God! I hear myself, and I'm like, did I just say that? Yes, I did. I'm like, oh. Anyways. Everyone take a shot every time I say absolutely in a podcast, and I promise you loads of times. So
Right,
you will
okay,
get plenty of drunk.
All right. So then you go,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Absolutely. Sorry for that.
Yeah, guys and
Right.
girls out there. So basically the bottom line to this is please, 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 if you don't understand about music contracts, please come to us. If you don't understand about music contracts, please go to our platform when it launches in 2024 and sign up to a workshop and do yourself a favor. That's all I can say.
Yes, exactly.
Give yourself a belated Christmas gift.
That's right. We also heard some amazing stories that we thought was really great to hear again. Okay. So let's play some of those clips. Here we go.
Here we go. Ho, ho, ho.
Okay. So
who is your favorite superhero?
God, I don't know. Maybe Superman.
Superman.
Yeah.
Okay. So would you rather vomit on your hero or have your hero vomit on you?
Vomit on my hero.
Why?
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 I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. Quite funny with things like that put me off my food. No, I'm very hard, very easily put off things, you know?
Yeah.
So
okay, so it's better.
My friend did vomit on me at cream food once.
I know.
Yeah.
So maybe you're his hero, you know?
Maybe I'm traumatized from that, you know?
Never again.
We were at cream foods, right? Well, dancing away, like probably only maybe 18. And I was like, what the hell was that? And I started looking about, and it was so warm. And I looked up, looking at me. And what? He goes, oh man, I'm sorry. And I'm like, oh no. So,
oh,
are you still friends?
Yeah. Someone just did a trance on Friday. We can.
No way. I want to meet the vomit guy. Seriously.
The vomit guy, yeah.
So I actually met.
Did you
the vomit guy?
You actually met the vomit guy
after the podcast. Yes, I went over for ADE. No, sorry, it wasn't ADE. It was a state of trance.
Oh, state of trance. Sure. Okay.
Kieran was playing on one of the main stages, and he brought the vomit guy with him. So we met up and backstage, and we took a picture and had a good laugh. And yeah, good times.
Did you tell him that you knew the story about his?
Yeah. We were all laughing, and you know, he said, "Well, you know, we're still friends, so." Good on them.
The bit in it that really made me laugh was when he was describing the warmth of the vomit.
Yes, exactly. Oh my
God!
I was like, yeah. That's a good story. It really is a good story.
I know that was a good story.
So, if you are a listener of this podcast, you might be a music fan or singer, songwriter, producer, or even promoter. There have been some amazing tips and tricks shared with us during the year. And here's some of the best clips.
I have a Sennheiser that I use all the time. I also have a CAD, a CAD mic that I use. And I also love this Audix mic.
Yeah.
That I use for live stuff because it doesn't like feedback and it's very cool.
Yeah.
Right now I've been using this CAD mic for a while.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that tip.
Yeah. I have to, I have a lot of different mics. I mean, I will use a 57. I will use a 58. I will try. A lot of times it's the song.
Right.
You know, tells you. I mean, a nice, beautiful, clean. I mean, I love when I listen to like an Adele record or something, and I'd love to get in there and use their chain and their mic and see
I'd love that.
You know, I mean, there are some really nice mics out there.
You have a specific setup also when you're actually performing. I've seen you set up everything. So, like, any tips for those who are performing live? Like, what should you have when you're performing live?
I've actually changed it since then too.
Okay.
There's always a better way,
Yeah.
to do it. I think that dance music is the hardest, most challenging music to perform. And I've said this because it's like electronic music, and it is either detuned, a lot of the sounds that they're using, or they're like smack on,
Yeah.
It's different than singing with like a band or something. So
Yeah.
I have really good pair of ear monitors is really important. And you can never, I don't know if you find that, but you can never like really get the sound out. It's like that combination of the room and your ear monitors that you're going to be singing to. I would get, a microphone like a 57 or that Audix or something that doesn't feedback, that doesn't have. I was using like this Sennheiser beautiful mic that like Celine Dion uses, and that does not work.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
It does not work in a club because it all goes into the mic.
Oh, wow.
You're listening to like a million things in your ear.
Oh, that's got to be really off-putting.
It's really hard.
Wow.
But so now I know some people like my friend Christian Burns, he loves to listen to a lot of reverb in his vocal, so it gives him that feeling of the record and everything.
Yeah.
And that can be good for some people. I've done that. I like it to be dry and upfront and just kind of like in my face.
Yeah.
So, I take Pro Tools sometimes to record my shows so I can listen back and make notes.
Nice. If you can,
it's sometimes hard to do.
You said that.
But you learn so much if you can do that.
Absolutely.
Listen, because when you're when you're in a club and you have the energy and the loud music, you tend to sing, you sing loud.
Yes, right. I totally agree. Yeah, you're like, it's going wild.
And then you're like, but the thing is, I tell myself, just do not belt, don't push it out too much, get in there. Because our music, it's sort of, you want to be part of it. And
you have.
But I learned that from recording the track. So I would say, make sure you find a mic that doesn't take too much spill from the room. And sometimes that's not the nicest mic. That's why they always have these 57s and 58s in the club, because they just get what's in front of you.
Right.
All right. Let's go to
one.
the next.
Yeah.
To get inspired, I would go and listen to like rock, pop, hip hop, listen to the radio for music that I don't normally listen to. And then when I sit in the studio, obviously like it's EDM or it's like trance, like all the time. But I get influenced by others, pop singers and stuff like that, and kind of take that to one. Yeah.
I think that really helps you become unique. If you only listen to the same music that's in your genre, then it's hard to really come up with something unique.
Yeah.
Whereas if you
or
listen
you
to
end
something,
up copying somebody,
Yeah, exactly. So it's easier if you listen to something outside of your genre and then try to bring something in.
Yeah.
So I think I would recommend that to a lot of people. And also when I produce music, I try to look for samples in different genres than my own genre, for the same reason, because you come up with like samples that nobody in your scene is using, because maybe it's from a lo-fi hip hop or whatever.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Do you actually use a lot of samples yourself, or do you try to kind of create your own samples?
No, I definitely use for drums and everything. I use a lot of samples. Sometimes like multi-sample libraries for specifically for drums and percussions. So yeah, I use a lot of samples, and now especially with Splice, it's just so easy. I don't have to buy full packs. I just look for the sound and the key that I'm in, and yeah, I really learned to use the program properly, and then also to get into the more. Like I usually, when I look for a sound, I skip a few pages and then I start looking, because everybody always only looks for the first page,
I
right?
like
Because it's
that.
like
I like
All right,
that.
because okay, so where has it changed? The problem is I'm going to flip it back and say it hasn't changed, and
Okay.
this is the problem. Trance is the genre that tends to get more stale than any other genre that I've seen out
That's
there.
interesting.
And when I say stale, I don't necessarily mean it. Yeah, I do mean it in a bad way, to me anyway. But it's just guys that are making, so 90% of the guys that are making, okay, at least I'm going to speak based on 138 stuff. The progressive guys, I've got a really good thing going, and Juno Beats and all this kind of stuff. They're pushing really original sounds and ideas, and they embrace them. The 138 market, 90% of the people are kind of pigeonholed into this sound, and the guys are afraid to breaking out, to break out of that mold. They're afraid what awaits them out there, out of that comfort zone. Now, is that because of COVID? There was an explosion of templates being available on the internet, that they can just take the template and move some notes around and call the tracks their own tracks. It could be. There's just as a label owner, I'm racking my brain every week when I'm listening to these demos that come in. And I'm like, today all the demos sounded the same. And there must have been a new template that's come out.
Wow, really?
Wow.
It is kind of like that, yeah.
Wow.
And it's depressing, and actually it's a little bit frustrating as a label owner, because you don't want to release a track and then somebody else comes out with a track on another label that sounds almost identical because they use the same template to start with.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So this is where we are at.
All right. So you're a producer yourself. So what do you do to kind of go outside of that line and maybe do something different?
Most important thing is just start the track with an empty project. Okay, I'm not saying completely empty. Some people like to have a template in Live set up to have their bus sends already set up, so there's a long reverb, a short reverb, a delay, all that stuff. But mine starts out with 2 audio tracks, 2 MIDI tracks, and nothing on the sends, and I just go. There's never, I've never reused a project, I don't think ever, even from back in Logic days. It's just, even though in Logic I did tend to sound similar sometimes, but that was just an accident. But now it's like, now I want to make a concept and go follow it. And so if I make some crazy sound on the modular, make sure I'm recording in Live, because that stuff, you can't save presets, you can't save anything on the modular system. So if I make something cool, it's time to record, get it in, and then I can manipulate it with audio later, but it will never exist again. So it's important to always be recording, always see what you're doing, embrace a little bit of randomness sometimes, because the randomness can give you crazy ideas.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's just have a little bit. See, can I just jump in with the template thing? Because I think, you know, when Sean was talking about templates, and I heard that from somebody else as well. I think it was Armin who had been saying that, you know, people were actually noticing when people were using templates. And I know that recently there's been DJs like really sort of talking out about noticing, you know, splice stuff. Do you remember that noticing that they can identify when things are, you know, coming off that shelf, and and I mean, these are things that are going to happen, and my guess is that people will start being able to identify AI versus real vocals, and so we'll see how that rolls.
We'll definitely see how that rolls. I mean, it's kind of scary when you see ChatGPT putting in a male vocal and turn it into a female vocal, like with loads of backing vocals in the background, and you're like, whoa, what is going on? Is this gonna take over my job, basically? But I asked people what they thought. Like, doesn't matter that it is AI generated, and everyone that actually spoken to me said that it does matter, that they can feel, you know, the music much more when it's done by a real human. We hear music to feel, you know, and AI cannot give you that, really. I mean, you can get some small vocal clips, obviously, and that might work for, a techno track or whatever.
Right.
But there's no emotion in there.
Yeah.
Not in the same way as a real voice. So, yeah, it's gonna be an interesting future for sure. I hope that the real vocalist and producers are working together.
I do too, and I also think that my hunch is that, in time, I think AI will get better and better and better. Okay, so that sounds scarier and scarier and scarier, but like vinyl, something like goes off the shelf and everybody misses it, and I think that eventually, people are going to know or notice that kind of, because I think with AI, I mean, you've got perfection, you've got, it's too perfect.
That's
whereas,
true.
Vocals are not perfect, and it's the imperfection that makes them unique. And also, think about the relational. Isn't it great to actually build a relationship with somebody that you're actually creating this amazing, tune with?
Yeah,
so that's going to go. But I can see for all these producers that have been sitting waiting for vocals, and we know that you vocalists out there have got a propensity to make people wait, and we understand that. We own it. But it goes both ways. But I know that those kind of DJs are going to jump on this bandwagon and think, great, I don't have to wait for anybody. I can do a whole 100% on my own. I don't have to pay out. Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And that's fine.
Exactly.
That's good. That's fine. That's absolutely your creative process. But we will be here when you want proper vocals with that imperfect uniqueness. That we'll be here.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, there will be a big bunch of producers who are jumping up and down for this because they don't have to pay a vocal fee. They only pay for the ChatGPT extra setting or whatever. And they don't have to give away, some of the royalties and all that, I guess. But yeah, when Splice came out, I kind of was a little bit also not panicking, but a bit worried about what the future will bring for singers and songwriters. And now I see a lot of big producers like Armin, loads of others saying, guys, you need to stop using this same vocal over and over again in different songs. They don't want to hear that one more time being sent to them. So, I guess we'll see what will happen with this next thing that has been coming out. But I still believe in the true voice of a vocalist. I want to relate to something rather than a computer. That's my opinion.
Right. But then again, this is a really great one for debate. And I'd love to bring in some producers and a couple of singer-songwriters and just debate this out. And we're wondering, listeners, what you think. Would you like us to bring in to True Talk maybe a couple of producers, a couple of vocals, so we can all talk together and see what their thoughts are on these particular topics? And equally, what you can do is you can also write into us and you can suggest some topics, and we would love to make that happen.
And you can do that in our group called LoveVocalsNation on Facebook. So write your comments there.
And we will get people in. You can even suggest people that we can bring onto the show, and we will make it happen.
Yes, we will, for sure. Right. Let's go on to the next. And we're going to some stories that really shook me this year. I'm all about positivity and
positivity.
Yeah. However, these stories made me really upset, and this is why I believe in love vocals on what we're doing because we're gonna stop these things happening to people, right? So let's look at two very brave people, very big artists that has been through something horrific. We're talking about Amanda Wilson, who put basically Avicii on the map. Before I heard the song Bromance, I didn't know who Avicii was. I love that song. That song was a mega hit. We also have Marcella Detroit, who has been working with Eric Clapton, Elton John, Aretha Franklin, and many, many more. Marcella Detroit is one of the biggest rock stars out there. And she's sharing her story as well. So let's listen to them and learn from this. We have mentioned this song. You know, you collaborated with Tim Berg, also known as Avicii, back in 2010. I think it was released.
That's right. Yeah.
It was everywhere on the radio, the TV. You gave us a little story about, you know, how that came together. For me, it was probably the tune of the year when that came out.
Cool.
And it's so catchy.
Amazing.
And in my opinion, it's the best song Avicii ever did.
Yeah.
So,
Yay!
so you mentioned a little bit how that came together. And I'm just curious, like, did you and Avicii ever meet up? And you know, you worked together in the music video, never met?
No, I wasn't in the music video. Neither was Tim, actually. And Ministry of Sound just got some stock people.
Really?
Okay.
Put them in. So none of the artists were in the video. We wasn't asked, actually. It all happened so quickly. And also as well, though, I wasn't featured on the record, which was something I really heavily fought for, but didn't get anywhere because I had no representation at the time. And, Tim's management were quite hard to communicate with. So,
Okay.
Sorry, can I just clear up? What do you mean by you weren't featured?
It wasn't Tim Berg featuring Amanda Wilson. It was just Tim Berg.
Yep. Yeah. So basically, also, one of our listeners wrote in, right? And I wanted to bring it up so we can have a discussion about this and talk about it a little bit more. So a listener has been writing in saying, I find it inconvenience when I hear a singer alike on a song, but I cannot find them because they're not on the title or credited.
Yeah.
So I wonder sometimes if singers choose to remain off the title, but that seems really strange to me.
Yeah.
So that brings me to ask about Seek Bromance. So your name was not on that song. So would you like to share like the story behind that? You mentioned a little bit like it was difficult working with the management, or
yeah, it was quite difficult to work with the management because if I'm not represented at the time, I wasn't represented at the time, so I had no voice, I had no team around me to kind of say you can't do this,
Right.
So and Avicii at the time, before he became Avicii, obviously he was Tim Berg, and he was a brand, you know, and they were building the brand, and it was about him.
Right.
Not so much having, and a lot of his records, I think, didn't have featuring. It was just Avicii. It wasn't Avicii featuring, unless it was somebody massive like Rita Ora. You know, I don't know. As time went on, I suppose people started to know who the artist was on the record. But for me, it was really frustrating because I felt like I was being cut out.
Yeah.
And even from a PPL standpoint, actually, a featured artist gets paid more than a non-featured artist.
That's really, really good to share.
That's really important. Yeah. So if you want to be a featured artist, you will get paid more PPL.
Interesting. We used to have this conversation about featuring or putting and on instead of featuring.
Yes. Yeah.
We also have like some conversation about vocal buyout because that's a possibility. In my opinion, it comes from the places like Spotify, for example. Spotify has a rule that you cannot be more than, I think, 3 people in a name in a song. So that means that you have to leave one out, or one of, like, what is that? What is that? That needs to be changed, right? So that, for me, that was the case.
Tons of names on them, yeah. So I don't really, I don't know whether that is. Do you know if that's definitely a fact?
That is a fact, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy. It's
Doesn't make
absolutely
no
crazy.
sense. Change this now.
We need that change.
Really
This is like,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's how you've got to rely on the labels to actually place it in the right genre. And because I've known labels to like release EDM tracks under soul, and I'm like, so yeah, so that needs to make sure that it's in the right genre, and it also needs to make sure that obviously that everyone's credited. I mean, there's songs out there that I've done. My name's not even associated. It's featuring Amanda Wilson. When you look at the writing credits, I'm not written down. So it's
and
it's crazy.
And that's interesting, because that's one of the things we cover in their contract. Is to, well, again, it's these pitfalls that just seem to fall through the cracks. I think it's appalling. I don't mind saying that you didn't have your name on that. I think it's appalling, because, and I'm back to my usual thing that I say, and that is, what would the fans be singing without the vocals? Hello. And again, it's very disrespectful. Can I ask you, and as I say, I'm not pressing you to answer this, but how did it make you feel when that happened?
It makes you feel like you're nothing, even though you're such a massive part of the record. It just makes you feel, and there was so many people involved at that point, because we had the label in Italy, we had Ministry of Sound, it's been licensed to all these different record companies, and I do want to make people aware of this, actually, because I think it's really important. I didn't actually get paid for that record either.
Whoa!
So, wow. That pisses me off.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm really angry now.
The record that really I woke up. Because I was before this record happened, I was quite blind in a sense of I didn't really understand the industry, and I still don't, because there's so many grey areas. But that track for me really opened my eyes to how much corruption and also as well. And I want to talk about this a little bit later when there's a question and answer things about what needs to be in the contract for an artist as well, because I think that's really important.
Okay, so, and Linnea, every time I see that clip, I am absolutely horrified.
Yeah, same.
I mean, horrified, but it is so not a unique story. Because over 12 years, I have spoken to literally hundreds of vocalists.
Yeah.
And pretty much everyone has, maybe not one quite as horrific as this, but it's certainly getting up there. And a lot of it comes down to greed. And I've said this before in podcasts, greed or ego.
Yeah.
Or ignorance, and unfortunately, those sort of things need to stop. They need to stop, because when we, go back to what Jess said about trauma, I've had so many artists who have been traumatized, artists who have given up, amazing artists that have given up. Why? Because they were hurt so badly and treated so poorly that they were done.
Yeah. I know I was smiling when I was hearing that story, because I was so, shaken up, and I didn't react in the right way. I was like, what the hell, basically.
It's a shock. It's a shock.
Because it's one of the biggest hits of EDM, and it's going to be one of the biggest hits for a very long time. And she's not credited and still didn't get paid for that song.
It's
and this is how we got back to why it's important to educate yourself on the contracts, right?
Right, absolutely. And it's interesting. Someone was talking to me the other day and I know that this is on the topic of contracts. I mean, not specifically record label contracts, but publishing contracts. And, you know, somebody just got out of a long publishing contract, and they called me up and they said, you know, so does that mean that I'm free now from this contract? And I said, let me have a look at the contract. And I looked at it and it was in perpetuity. I said, I'm sorry, but no. Well, did I not get my stuff back? No.
Yeah. It's
what? No, because forever, it's done.
Forever and ever and ever.
It's done, you know?
Yes.
And you know, there was another moment where that particular artist was shell-shocked.
Yeah, exactly. It's a awakening call, but it's a awakening call too late. Yeah. Can't really fix it. We're seeing videos of Jojo also, who is really big famous singer and songwriter, and she also ended up with a bad contract that ended up saying that she could not basically perform or sing ever in her life again. She had to hire a lawyer and try to see if there's any way she could get out of that contract, and it nearly killed her, really. They found a little clause in that contract, thank God. So we're starting to see JoJo back on the stage again.
Yay, thank goodness for that.
The thing is, you know, I am thinking about how I started, and I'm just one of those who just like, yay, let me do music. I just want to have fun and you know, dream about, you know, big success and whatever, you know, but do music for love. And then when you get a contract, you just sign it because you're so excited to get the song out there, and you know, you want it to be number one and all that stuff. And then, you know, later on, some years later, when you start looking at, why am I not getting my royalties? What's going on here? Why is the publisher not putting in my work correctly? Like, I have so many songs. I have over 100 songs, and only a few of them are showing up on my royalty statements. Like, what is going on here? Right. You need to check your contracts, and you need to do that before you even go to those years later, because it might be too late.
I think you need to check your contracts, and certainly if there's a publishing contract, don't just trust that the publisher has actually put all your information, registered it correctly. What you need to do is go and double check that yourself. Now, you can do that yourself, but a lot of people out there won't know where to go and look. And it's going to be different depending on what territory you're living in. So, you know, these are the sort of things that we want to educate people within the industry of.
We're going to have workshops about contracts, and we're going to look at contracts together.
Yes.
And go through them step by step.
Right.
On what you need to understand on these contracts. Right. Because you might say or think right now at home, like, well, yeah, you talk a lot about contracts and blah, blah, blah. It seems so important. Well, it really is important. And then you might think, well, you know, yeah, you talk about all these things that happened, but how do I know that a contract is bad? So when we launch the platform early next year, there are going to be loads of information for you to look into, and you're going to get educated like you've never been educated before. And it's going to be fun, and you're going to get so much more royalties than you ever dreamt of, because you protected yourself.
Exactly. And that's the name of the game, Linnea, is you got to, literally, knowledge is power. And it is the one way to stay safe within the industry. Just roll back slightly to what you were saying regarding, it was JoJo. So let's roll back to what you were saying about JoJo.
We can actually see a clip. Let's see a clip of her.
Okay.
Right here, so people know what we're talking about.
Okay.
Here's
JoJo.
It had been 2 years that I was working on the album, and nothing had happened. Me and my team were looking for an out. The lawyer that I had looked through the contract and was like, this is ironclad. You're never getting out of this.
We literally had litigators and attorneys tell her, you need to find a plan B because you're probably never going to be able to be a part of this industry again in a way that you're used to.
And I was like, oh my God, how is this possible? I signed this contract when I was 12. This is no longer a functioning record label. They don't have an office anymore. And my family was like, Joe, just go to college, like, this industry, get out of it. Like, you're a smart girl, you know, you could go get a degree and do whatever you want. I'm like, I couldn't imagine actually doing that. If I don't really give this my all, I'll never forgive myself.
Right, so wow. And here's the question I have in my mind whenever I hear stories like this is, what the hell are these companies thinking? How dare they hold people to ransom, their whole lives, their whole creative being to ransom? I just find it astonishing and actually, quite frankly, disgusting that people would even do that. And that there's no moment where they take a big deep breath and go, God, maybe we could cut this artist some slack and let them at least move forward. We've got our piece, we've got our slice. Right. Let this artist progress. Nothing.
Yeah.
I just
like
it's astonishing. It's like they want to just burn the house down.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to that baby thing that you're talking about.
Right.
Imagine, your song is your baby, and then you created that baby, and you make sure that baby turns into a good person or whatever, and then somebody takes your baby away.
They steal your baby.
They steal it.
They steal your baby,
it.
and they never and they make you go through the hoops for years to get your baby back.
Yeah.
And some people never even get their baby back. I mean, the world would be up in arms at a story like that if it was actually a baby that was involved. But the fact is, for creators, that track is part of our soul.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that a lot of people don't fully understand. It's devastating.
Yeah.
It's devastating.
Yeah. As you mentioned, there's so many stories
from
the heroes that you look up to. And it's crazy. It really is crazy. And I don't know. It's just, we need some change in the music industry.
No, we need big change in the music industry. I mean, that's another thing we're going to be offering in our platform is mental health and well-being for artists within the music industry. And this is going to be a really holistic approach to mental health for creatives. So, and I'm not going to go into a big one about it because we will actually do a podcast on mental health within the industry, and we will be able to sort of tell you a little bit more about what we're offering. But please, 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 you look out for this platform, guys and girls, because if you're a creator, whether you're a pro, whether you're a beginner, whether you're an intermediate, you want this platform because this is going to give you tools that we never had.
What about the listeners that are just a fan?
I think for listeners and fans, for you guys to find a way to really support this change, if you really want to help artists that you love and have been following for years, once you start to understand some of the stories some of the journeys they've had to go through in order to get to where they are, to provide that music that you love so much. When you understand that, I want you to get onto whatever social media platform you favor and give us shout outs to really help bolster and push forward the message. To really push the message. Without creators, there'd be no music industry. Treat our creators well. Stop treating us poorly. Stop leaving us at the bottom of the food chain. We should be at the top of the food chain. We should be absolutely taken care of, respected,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
paid
I'm
and
laughing
paid.
because it's just
And
like,
instead of, wait for it,
Yeah.
exploited. We get exploited. So fans, if you really want to help, please help us push that energy wheel forward and make the changes to stop the exploitation of artists and creators within the music industry.
well done. Well said. Right, we have one more clip, and that is with Marcella Detroit.
Marcella,
Let's
we
listen to
love
her
you.
story.
We
We
love
love Marcella. She is superstar. She's a rock star.
She
My
is.
father is a big fan, and when she said a little hi, to my father
You
on
never
the
told
podcast,
me. Hang on, hold on.
Uh,
You didn't tell me what he said, and I never asked you. Go on.
he was so happy. He was like, "Oh my god, this is a personal message. Oh my god!" And yeah, he was like, "Wow, that was cool. That was a cool moment."
A
in his life.
lovely thing you did. I know.
Yeah,
know.
so who
That's
is
awesome.
Marcella Detroit? Maybe you can tell people, because we do have a lot of listeners from the electronic music scene, obviously, because both of you and I are from the electronic music scene. But
Yep.
Marcella Detroit is one of the biggest rock stars out there. Maybe you can tell a little bit about Marcella so people know how big she is.
Last year, the song Stay by Shakespeare's Sister topped the British charts for 8 weeks. It was written by one half of the duo, Marcella Detroit. She is now pursuing a solo career, and here she is with her new single, I Believe, Marcella Detroit.
So that's Marcella Detroit for you. As you could hear, she's been working with some of the biggest legends out there. And let's check the next clip on her story, again, on contracts.
And my manager went to see him a few weeks later and said, "So Marcy tells me you loved her music." He says, "Well, we would never sign her." And he said, "Well, why not? I mean, you love the music." And
Wow.
He said, "Well, she knows too much." He's like,
"Oh my Lord.
What do you mean she knows too much?" "Well, she would never sign a 360 deal. I mean, these days we want a piece of the
everything, everything of everything."
So they knew that this deal is bad.
Gigs. And you're right, I wouldn't. But
no,
thing. People are doing that because that's the only kind of deals they're offered, and they're only offered those kind of deals because labels got greedy, right? They got greedy, and they didn't do
really greedy.
They didn't do anything, but they got stupid too because they didn't take Napster seriously, and that was the beginning of the downfall of the value of music. They didn't try to stop it, and now they got to make money, so that's the only way to make their money.
Yeah. I recently come across a contract when working with other people also in the music industry, and what we saw there on the contract is basically the label is taking like, I don't know, 85%. The rest is given to the artist, right? However, and then let's say there's 3 people that is collaborating, so they all had to split on that. So maybe you get 5%. But on part of that, the label is taking, I think it was like 600 euros or something from just making marketing or whatever. Like they're taking a big bunch of money. So even if you get 5%, you will never actually see the money coming back because they're taking that money to promote, and it's just ridiculous. And that's not even included in the like the percentage they're taking in royalties. It's just like on top.
Yeah.
So
It's
basically,
crazy.
the person that signed that contract will probably never see a penny.
I don't know. I mean, do they even give you statements?
Well, there's the other thing, because yes, the bigger labels are pretty good at sending out statements, but they do two things. They will not allow you to, if you earned under a certain amount in each statement, it has to be rolled over into the next statement.
Oh, right.
And so you never get your money if it's under a certain amount.
Right.
And I mean, people like yourself, Marcella, big artists and stuff like that, you're going to get a reasonable income because you've big high sales. But for a lot of the vocalists, certainly that we know in the EDM sector, they don't, the money does not trickle down. It does not trickle down to them at all. And with these 360 deals as well, where they're taking your publishing as well, it's like, so what's left for us?
What's the point?
I wouldn't sign that, but a lot of people do. A lot of people do.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem. A lot of people do. So they get away with it because they can.
So that was another wowzer, wasn't it? When we heard all of that, and that goes into a whole new territory. How vocalists, because of their age, get judged as well.
Right.
So that takes it into a whole new dynamic. And she talks about Napster, and she was absolutely right. And I have to put my hands up and say, I was really into Napster when it came out, because it was that free thing. And people said at the time, don't use it, stop it now. And I'm going, no, because I get to listen to all my stuff for free. And what an idiot, because literally that was one thing, like we fear AI is going to be, that literally devalued everything. People got used to not paying for anything, getting everything for free, and that was it.
The thing is, people like myself, when I was younger, I didn't have a lot of money, I was a poor little kid, and it was great to get some free music, so you could hang around with your friends and bounce to those beats,
Right.
So I get that part.
Yeah.
I get it. But we have Snoop Dogg, who's been talking recently about having billions of streams on Spotify, for example, and he is not seeing a lot of royalties coming back. So he's starting to use his voice, and I think we need a bigger wave, of big artists starting to speak up a little bit more. We're all excited about Spotify Wrapped and all that. I myself included, because I guess that's where people are listening to music today. So it's a nice way to see, okay, somebody's listening to my music. Wow, that's cool. However, it's not working well. It's definitely not working well. People are not getting what they should be getting, and people cannot continue to do music. I've seen so many producers on Facebook writing, okay, it's enough. I'm done, because they cannot survive in the music industry. And so there's no way for, let's say, middle artists to survive. You need to have a full-time job next to it, basically.
Yeah.
And if you are a big star, let's talk about, let's say, Beyonce, for example. and all the other ones. They are surviving right now on two things, and that is performances. They're selling tickets, and the tickets are way more expensive, and it's because of things like Spotify, because they're not seeing any revenue coming in from Spotify, so they have to make it more expensive, you know, to go to a concert, you know. So the concert tickets are way more expensive than they used to be. Like some so is crazy amounts, you know, for some concerts. And the other thing is, obviously, they're not getting the money from the music, so they need other sponsorships, and that could be like perfumes, and you know, people are DJing on YouTube trying to survive. There's loads of people are trying to, you know, get creative, and some people get really exhausted about that because they just want to make music because that's what they are really good at. They don't want to do all those things. They don't have a manager do all those extra things to get yourself sponsored or to have somebody run around and film you. So I understand people are getting tired, and it's a whole you know, circle with Spotify, and I don't know what the solution is. They made this film on Netflix about Spotify, and in the film they're like, oh, we're all for the music rights, and why are they not getting paid, and everybody should have music, you know, in a good way because Napster was so bad. I don't know. I think Spotify is pretty out there as well.
I think one of the questions that come up for me is why? Why, for example, are we not getting paid properly? Who cut the deals in the first place that provided the standards within, say, for example, Spotify? And who is making all of the money? And those people that are making all of the money, why is it okay to, again, wait for it, exploit artists? Why is it that our incredible artists, without whom we wouldn't actually have a music industry, what makes it okay to treat them like that and exploit them like that and not respect them? What makes that okay? Because I don't understand any of the answers to any of these questions. And yet all of us, and you asked me what fans can do. Fans, send emails to these companies and say, pay our artists, pay the creators, pay them properly. Why are great performers and great creators, great artists, having to do a side gig? Why are they having to do a side hustle? Why are they having to do a side hustle? Why are they making the songwriting part and the artist part their hobby?
Yeah.
I'm confused by that.
Yeah.
And how does that make it a conducive environment for brand new talent to want to come forward? It's just like walking into a den of sharks.
Yeah. It's one of those industries that maybe one of the only ones, because, you know, filmmaking, yes, you can download a movie, but you still enjoy going to the cinema. So cinema is always going to be there. A big, you know, sure, the film industry has been hit also with, you know, the free downloads and all that, but it's still kind of, I don't know, surviving. I don't know. Maybe I can't talk about that because I don't know really how that.
I think one of the things that always comes up to me with the film industry is, you know, 20 odd years ago, if not more, there was a massive push on piracy. I mean, really, and that push on piracy protected a lot of actors, and the film industry in its own right. But
Yeah.
nothing has ever been done for vocalists and songwriters. Well, so let's put it another way. Nothing's ever been done for creators, singers, songwriters, producers. There's no kind of structure, standards put in place. No one's fighting our corner. There's so many voices saying, no, this is not right. Oh, I'm really upset. But I'm calling to action. Call us all together. Let's work together. Bring all these independent organizations together, and let's all push our shoulders to the wheel and really make changes. We can create our own standards. We can make our own standards. We've just got to do it together.
Yes.
And there you go.
Good putting. And just today, I got an email from somebody saying, "Why are you doing this job when you're such a good singer and songwriter?" And I'm like, well, there's nothing in there. So I kind of,
because you can't live off of the money that
I can't
royalties
pay
are
for bread
providing.
and water
No.
or rent. So
No.
there you go.
Yeah.
Talking about producers before that decided to leave the music industry. We have a clip here from Emmanuel Lasalle when he's telling his story about what happened on Luminosity Beach Festival in the summer, where he decided enough was enough. So let's play it and hear it again. So you recently performed at Luminosity Beach Festival.
Yeah.
And my whole Facebook blew up. Like, my Facebook feed was filled with really sad, upset fans saying that you announced that was your last live set. And hearing from you that DJing is actually your main passion, this makes me really sad to hear. And I want to hear a little bit more. I mean, you mentioned some parts, right? But what brought you to this decision? Was that something planned, or was that in the moment that you just felt really upset about something?
If and the people who know me, they know that I say that so many times. It's actually 20 years that I say, no, I'm gonna stop. No, I'm gonna quit.
Okay.
I'm full. Yeah, But not this time. I went to Luminosity so happy because the last time was before COVID. I was really happy. I really can't wait to. I knew that a lot of my friends, a lot of my supporters, a lot of my community, they were there. So I was so excited.
Yeah.
And I decided to make the announcement during the last track of my set, because I saw the dance floor was packed. They were melting. It was one of the hottest Luminosity ever.
I heard.
Something like 38 degrees.
Wow.
No shadow. Well, the people, they were boiling. Something like I saw people feeling almost sick because it was so damn hot.
Wow.
But they were there. They stayed there from the beginning till the end of my set. I saw familiar faces, friends, people that I call family, because I'm my friend with them since ages.
Yeah.
And I was like, perfect time, perfect crowd, perfect friends, perfect party, because Luminosity for me.
Yeah.
I did play the very first Luminosity. Now I was still Luminosity after so many years.
Yeah.
Everything was perfect. I was like, when I was thinking, when could be the next chance to have this in front of me? Since the trans politic decides who deserve to play in events and who's not. And this is sick, if you ask me. It is unfair.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is the best way to live, like a winner. Like,
Okay.
it's my choice. It's
Yeah.
not someone else's choice.
Yeah.
Not like, because probably in 1 year, I will be at the point that I have no gigs, I have no requests, and I feel like I want to quit. But I want to quit. It's better to quit after a good set, because I think it was a good set. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Taste. It's all about taste. And in front of so many people. And it's my choice. It's my choice. They are not gonna kill me.
To hear you say that, Manuel,
Yep.
Absolutely. All power to you.
All power to you, for sure.
But you'll be surprised at how many people are dying to say what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, the question is another one. So why did they don't say that?
They're frightened.
Scared.
They're frightened. They're frightened because even although some of them have got to the I don't care stage, some of them aren't quite there yet, and they get really scared that they'll be blacklisted. I was astonished when I heard the Manuel Dussault story. I was like astonished by his bravery. I was astonished by his guts to get out and actually finish things on a high, and also to take a stand against another exploitation, because I you know, and it may not be fully exploit what it's doing. Unfortunately, I get why promoters are doing it, because you know they're going to hire the big artists where they're making the money and they know they can make the sales. We know this,
right? Yeah.
But it doesn't give the newbies a chance. It doesn't give new talent the opportunity to be seen, to showcase, and I think that is just deep. Again, it's greedy, guys. Stop it now. I honestly give new talent a chance. There's some amazing producers out there. There's some amazing DJs out there,
Right.
but they're not getting a chance. Give them a chance.
Exactly.
Give them a chance.
I think a good way forward. I mean, obviously, I understand their thinking too, because I have been doing some events as well, and you know, people do get excited about a big artist. But what happens if all the big artists are no longer there? So we still need some great new artists out there to come and shine. And why not mix it up? Mix it up and give people a chance. I think that's important.
Absolutely.
Because Manuel Dussault is one of those incredible producers in the trance music industry. And fortunately, he's doing his thing now. He's continuing DJing on his own. And I think that's more healthy. I think he was very brave to say enough is enough, because a lot of people, as you know, Manuel said in this clip as well, is people don't dare to speak up because they're scared, right? They're scared for losing the chance to ever be on a stage again if you say something, right?
Right. Linnea, that's far too much power.
Yes.
You know, we have our own power. We have the internet, we have social media, we have every possible tool out there to do it without giving away our power. And I love the fact that Manuel's just gone like, you know what, I'm going to do it myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it myself. And I think
we
that's
love him.
really,
He's great.
really important. Yeah. I have my little niece here, beautiful, beautiful young lady. And I thought I'd bring her down, and she's American and from San Francisco. Just bring her on because, you know, it's family, isn't it? We got a bit of everything.
I like that.
So listeners, we have today a really special guest. We have Antonia, and Antonia is actually my niece, and we're going to bring her on, and Linnea's going to ask a few questions.
There we go. Who is your favorite singer and songwriter today?
I don't really know. I love Bruno Mars.
Bruno Mars. I love him too. I saw him at a concert in Dublin a few years ago, and he's just incredible singer. Yeah, if Bruno Mars was ripped off from the music industry, is that something that you care about?
Like somebody stole his music, or
Yeah.
Oh, that would not be fair. Unless like he's stealing someone's music, that's not good either. But if somebody stole his music, that's not fair at all.
Yeah, would that make you upset overall?
It would, because if I didn't hear his music anymore, I'd be upset because I love his music.
Yeah. Would you feel sorry for him overall?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. Same. So, what's your favorite Christmas song? I think it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Oh yeah, I like that song.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I like Last Christmas.
Yeah, that's a good one. Last Christmas, that's a favorite for sure. Is there anything that you would like to say to the listeners right now?
Just Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Yay. Thank you so much for coming on the show. So, we've been talking a lot of serious stuff now, and let's look at some of the funny clips that we have had with our favorite guests. Would you rather have finger-sized nipples or nipple-sized fingers?
I'm just trying to actually
process that. Yeah.
I'm trying to visualize it. Finger-sized nipples and neither. Thanks.
Yes, okay. Fair enough.
Would you rather have a punch in the face or a poke in the eye?
Oh, punch in the face or a poke in the eye.
Oh,
I think I'd go for a punch in the face.
Why?
Yeah, we want to know why.
Why?
Eyes. I can't imagine a poke in the eye. I have to keep my vision. I don't care about my face.
If you could have a talking toilet that gave compliments every time you used it, what encouraging things would you hope to hear?
Oh my God. Encouraging toilet. No, this is ridiculous. Nice butt. I don't know.
nice butt. Okay, so every time he's like, nice butt.
Nice butt.
That would be encouraging, to have a really great day. Right. So there you have it, folks. Some of, I guess, my favorite moments. And there are a bit of mixed ones between both serious topics, but also some funny stories and some good tips. Another favorite a moment and video was when Audrey Gallagher talked about changes she'd like to see in the music industry. She talked about the DJ playlist submissions. So if you could change standards for vocalists in the music industry, what changes would you like to make?
I think the first thing, and I think it's something that's overlooked so much, and it's not necessarily a direct answer, but I think that it should be mandatory that DJs submit their set lists to performing rights societies. I think that is the one thing where vocalists could actually get paid for the work that they've done. Back to being in a band, we submitted our set lists.
Right.
That was the way it was done, and that's how you get paid your performance royalties. So, for example, Big Sky could be played with, we've got a very big planet. If it was played 1,000 times in 1 week, that's revenue that the vocalist doesn't get. The DJ gets revenue for playing the gig.
Yeah.
But the vocalist who wrote the track gets nothing for that. And I think DJs always see a lot of people on Twitter going, oh God, I've got a 14-hour stopover, what am I going to do? And I'm thinking, you can upload your set list.
Yeah.
Upload your set list, guys and girls.
I have actually said that to a few people. But yeah, I think that would massively change how vocalists are able to operate in terms of buying equipment to record their own vocals, to book studio time, to, you know, make things, to bring things forward for themselves under their own steam and not relying on anybody else. It's money that's already collected. It's money that's already there, but we can't claim it. It's whoever has played the set list needs to submit that, and I think that would change the industry for vocalists. I think I was one of the first people to change featuring to and. It was one of the things that I insisted on very early on.
Yes.
Yay.
I remember those conversations.
It is, you know, featuring absolutely fine. If you've had no involvement in writing the song and you just recorded it, featuring is perfectly applicable. But if you have written the melody and you've written the top line, then it's an and. You're an equal partner in the songwriting.
I agree.
So that is something I think that vocalists need to be aware of as well. Maybe newer vocalists going in, you're not a featured artist. You're a songwriter. You've written the melody and you've written the lyric. So you are an and. So it's really hard because the industry is the industry, and it will never, like all industries, it will never have the performer at its profit is profit. You know, everyone wants to, they run the business for the business side. So but I think there's a lot of things that vocalists can take into their own hands, and that comes with learning as you go, but being open and asking questions. But definitely in terms of payment, my one thing is definitely set list submission. And I know that there was talk a few years ago about Pioneer doing something within the decks. An algorithm and then automatically pick up tracks that were played, so it would automatically.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet. I'm sure there's an AI program out there that could
I 100% agree with you. There's got to be technology to be able to do that.
It has to be. But it's not hard for, I mean, I don't know, Linnea, you're a DJ. Is it as simple as you, like, that's the set list I did last night? Because PRS make it quite simple. You just upload it.
Yeah.
So is that something that would be easy for a DJ to do?
It's very easy to do. Yeah, absolutely. It's just people forget to take the time to do that.
I don't think they're aware either.
No, exactly.
So raising the awareness of doing that and the difference that would make, you know, not just to vocalists, but someone who's played cello on the track or guitar on the track, or who's, you know, has had some other part in the process to get what they're due, because the money has been collected. Every business here has a PRS license.
Yep. And PPL is another one.
Yep.
So those are tools that, if it was just a regulation and a standard, then that would make a massive difference.
I thought that was incredible because, you know, we're asking a lot of people about changes they'd like to see, and, you know, a lot of people talking about the contracts and, you know, being treated right and stuff. But also the DJ playlist submissions is really good, you know, because there's so many people that are, you know, playing the gigs and then, you know, off they go, and that's it. And they don't submit those playlists. And that means that the artists are not getting paid, including yourself as an artist who are DJing. And imagine it's going to come. I know it's going to come. The pioneers, the CDJs, gonna eventually have something built in where, you know, DJ playlist submissions will probably be sent off automatically. But until then, there's so much more you can do as a producer and DJ as well to make sure that you get more royalties, and that is playlist submissions.
And Linnea is 110% right, and it just kind of like harks back to what I was saying, and that is we need to all work together. If we creators work together to make sure that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, then we will end up getting more money. And it's just really, really, really important that if you're out there and you're a DJ, to put your playlist in, as Linnea has just said, hand it in, because that's how the creators get paid. And you're a creator too.
That's true. We have some more clips about changes artists wants to see in the music industry. So let's look at those as well.
You know, when there's a beautiful vocal on something and you don't even know who it is.
Right.
I'm like always like, who's saying this? You know?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Like,
I hate when there's such a good song and you're like, where's the name of this amazing singer?
Right.
I want to know who that is. Yeah.
So I think it's always, you know, that's another thing that would be good to change.
The secret hidden power, right, as a like musician, is that if you are, let's say, a smaller artist, you have, you know, maybe you have 10K followers or whatever, but that other person that you work with, let's say they have 100K followers.
Yeah.
You feel, you know, because you want this to be a great collaboration. You're super excited. They asked you to collaborate with them, for example. So when they come back and say like, hey, we can only offer you 5%, let's say it like that. Then if you don't accept it, you're scared to lose that opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So you feel forced into that situation. And that is something that needs to be changed. And that is why we are here.
Yeah.
Talking about these things to make positive change.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I really want to share with you ladies something that really drives me nuts, right?
Okay.
So sometimes I get people to reach out to me saying, you have to give me a vocal or do a vocal on this. So it's just to give you an example, right? And why does it drive me nuts? Well, because it feels like more of a demand rather than a request, right? Of working together. So they assume that they can get a vocal on demand for free, and they're not thinking about what it takes to create a vocal, and if I'm even, you know, interested in wanting to collaborate, or if I even have the time for it. So I really don't like to get approached that way, because writing vocals is actually my craft and my job, you know? So Audrey, I'm interested to hear like your thoughts around this experience on this kind of topic.
That's awful that people are approaching you like that. I've had that a few times, but I just ignore that. I just delete. It used to be when as artists got bigger that were asking me for collaborations, it always came from their management. And I find it quite difficult, because I like to deal with the person that I'm actually going to be working with, rather than I've had lawyers.
Third party,
And things go through managers, and it's like, could I talk to the person who wants to collaborate and find out this, you know, what the idea is, or what, you know, what we want to achieve in this, or what the kind of direction is. That bugged me for ages. Just talk to me. You know, don't talk to me. Don't go through your manager. I understand people are busy and all the rest of it, but we all have, you know, things to do, and, you know, things that we have to get involved with. But that was the one bugbear of mine, was that just talk to me directly. So now I'm on the flip side of it, because then I'm rubbish at business. I'm rubbish at the business side of things. I hate discussing money, and I hate discussing splits, and I'm much more than I used to be, because, you know, girls, that like, we have to put a value on the work that we do.
Yeah.
You know, there's no way around that. But at the beginning, I was very uncomfortable talking about that. So I work with Dan at Evolved Artists now, and have Dan handles it. So people will approach me about collaborations and send me a track. If it's something that I'm interested in working on, I'll, you know, point them in the direction of Dan, and, you know, really like the track, love to work on it. Please contact Dan to discuss fees, blah, blah, splits, blah, blah, blah. So they know from the outset that that's the thing, that, there will be.
I love that.
That's a good idea, yeah.
Yeah, so that way I don't have to deal with the actual fee negotiation, which I hate. So that's Dan's job, and that's what he does. So if they don't want to pay, sorry, that's not how I operate anymore. I've done it too many times in the past, and it is a craft. It takes a very long time, to write. To get you're good because you can record your own vocals. You're very talented in that. Neil does everything here. I record. We have our own residential studio. That's a fully commercial studio. But Neil records my vocals. I couldn't afford to go in to that studio and pay for that recording myself if I wasn't getting a fee.
Right.
Yeah.
Neil's working. Why should he not get paid to do the production? That is top drawer production. You're getting a fully finished vocal, fully finished product.
Yeah.
If you think that it's that easy, that I'll just go in here for 5 minutes, write this, I'll record it.
Right.
But hopefully it doesn't. It really doesn't happen to me that much. I think it's probably something that a lot of newer vocalists in the scene will come up against.
Yeah.
Definitely, where you'll get but it'll be great exposure. Or
I hate that one.
The classic.
Oh my goodness.
My God, it's a classic.
Do you say in response to that, yeah, great exposure for you?
Yeah, well, that's it. But it doesn't pay my bills.
It would be a really great drinking game. Every time you hear it, take a sip. Now, that takes us to an end of today's podcast episode. It's been a really good year. I am super excited for what's coming, and also super excited for the guests that are coming on. Big legends are coming on the podcast. We're gonna deep dive into their musical journey, and we're gonna continue to talk about the music industry, educate ourselves. It's gonna be an incredible world to be a part of.
I agree. We also want to wish you an amazing, an astounding 2024.
Yes.
And may all your wishes and your dreams come true.
Right. All right. Before we leave, Antonia, give us your favorite Christmas song.
Well, my favorite Christmas song was actually a song that was written quite a few years ago, actually now, but it was written by two amazing writers called Greg Lake and Peter Sinfield. Peter Sinfield wrote the lyrics for it. And it's a song called I Believe in Father Christmas.
They said there'll be snow at Christmas. They said there'll be peace on earth. But instead it just kept on raining. A veil of tears for the virgin birth. I remember one Christmas morning, a winter's light and a distant choir, and the peal of a bell and that Christmas tree smell, and eyes full of tinsel and fire.
And old song, but a brilliant song. And it just makes me quite teary actually when I hear it. So there you go. That's my favorite song.
All right. My favorite New Year's Eve song is ABBA, Happy New Year.
You got to have.
We always put that on the New Year's Eve. So let's finish off this podcast with that song. Happy New Year's, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for this year. Thank you for supporting us.
Yesterday, now's the time for us to say Happy New Year, Happy New Year. May we all have a vision now and then of a world where every neighbor is a friend. Happy New Year, Happy New Year. May we all have our homes, our will to try. If we don't, we might as well lay down and die. You and
Linnea and I want to thank every guest that came on last year. They were absolutely brilliant and amazing, and had so much courage to share their own stories with us. And there's many, many more to come. Please tune in. Please subscribe on Twitch. Please check out YouTube. Please check out Spotify. We're going to be there. And most of all, keep your eye out for LoveVocals.com.
New Year's, everyone.
Happy
Thank
New
you.
Year! Yeah.
Bye.
Yay.
See you in the next year.
I hope that situations like mine, and with, you know, all the eyeballs on Taylor Swift, and even with what Kesha went through and Meg the Stallion, with us talking more about contracts and ownership and things like that, and just having the freedom to continue and make moves in your career. It wasn't even that I was like, I need to be 100% in control. It's like, I just want to work. Let me go and continue on. But I think that these conversations are good, and then people can go and do more research and learn more and empower themselves, because knowledge is a very, very empowering thing.